talking framing. Framing is how we adjust our picture and use different angles and shots to accentuate the things we want to focus on and try to hide the things we don't want people to notice. There's a lot that goes into framing, so let's get into it. Now, the number one thing that is the easiest to do, clear your background. I don't mean move every single furniture away so you can only see bare walls. What I mean is try to tidy up a little bit, and by the way, it gives me good motivation to clean my apartment, so just do it. Next up, always shoot landscape unless you absolutely can't. Now you might be wondering, why is that? If you look at Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok, everybody's shooting portrait, and honestly we're all used to it, including me. But if you think about the professional world, where we still view things on a computer screen, on a TV screen, most things are still landscape. If you look at YouTube, most things are better viewed landscape. So let's stick to that. But of course, with our limited setting, sometimes we have to shoot portrait. For example, if the room that you're shooting in is so small that your camera is stuck to the wall, but you're dancing and you still can't see your feet, well, your teacher might not be too psyched about that. In that case, yeah, it's fine to shoot portrait. But by default, it's best to shoot landscape. Next up, we're gonna talk about the golden rule of thirds. The rule of thirds isn't a rule you have to absolutely stick by, but it's a very helpful guideline that people have been following for years and years, and it makes an image look easier on the eyes. So imagine a grid over your image. 2 lines here and 2 lines here. When you're on the grid, your eye line should be matching the top line of the grid. Of course, the line doesn't have to be exactly there. Nobody is going to overlay a grid over your image and be like, that is not right. We often end up framing our head in the middle of the shot. And while yes, the middle is the most important part and our face is the most important, it seems like there's a lot of extra space on top and you're wondering, well, what is gonna happen up there? Now, the same goes for portrait. In portrait, we also have the grid. So this would be an ideal framing, a little bit of space above my head, but not too much. Now, when shooting full body, we keep a similar amount of space above our heads and below our feet, maybe a little bit more above our heads. Now, let's talk about angles. Angles are a little bit tricky. Here, let me show you a few examples, just with me standing here in a full body with several different angles. This is how I look like with the camera approximately at my thighs height. This is how I look like when my camera lens is a few inches higher than my head. And this is how I look like when my camera is about the height of my stomach. So which angle do you think makes you look the most proportional and at the same time can showcase your full body? I feel like this height, where the camera is about your stomach level, is the best to showcase your whole self. Now, this is the angle we shoot when we shoot full body. But what about when we start getting closer? This is how it looks like when the camera lens is exactly the height of my eyes. This is how it looks like when the camera's height is a few inches above my head. This is how it looks like when the camera is a few inches below my eye level. Now, I absolutely hate this angle because you can very clearly see my double chin. Please God, no. I like the height when the camera lens is on the same level as my eyes, because then it doesn't feel so intimidating or strange, and the power dynamic seems to be equal and more friendly. Now for the next tip. This is something that I catch myself doing all the time, and I don't think I'll ever grow out of it. It is looking at the screen while I'm filming myself. I know, I can absolutely understand why you would feel the need to look at yourself and keep checking in on, hey, is my framing, is my lighting right? I understand. But it can be really distracting for the person who's watching when you're supposed to do something that needs eye contact, but you keep sort of looking slightly off but not really off, so the person who's watching is always wondering, are you talking to me or are you not? We don't always stare directly at the camera talking though. Sometimes when we're supposed to film us doing a scene or doing a song that is directly addressing someone else, you might decide to put this someone else out of frame. Sort of like imagining that they are here, even though the camera, the audience, cannot see them. Well, in that case, where should I put this imagined Prince Charming? What angle should my face be looking at? Well, first of all, let's look into lighting. My light is coming in directly through the window over there. So ideally, when I turn my head and where I place my person should be over there. So let's say I put Prince Charming over there and on my eye level. Should I look here, or here, or here? Before you start filming your video, because obviously when we're looking here, I cannot simultaneously check in on the image because my head turns around, I can't see it anymore. So I would suggest making a little pre-film screen test type of thing. I turn on my video, and then I start saying, okay, this is one angle, this is one angle, and this is one angle. And then I go and review my video, and I can pick which angle showcases my face the best, but at the same time, it cannot be too close to the original lens. Like for example, if I put Prince Charming over here, it sort of seems like, are you still talking to the camera, or are you just slightly off? So I suggest you to go play around with different angles and find what is best for you and for your character. Pro tip. If you have a cute animal, or maybe a cute stuffed animal, if you're not filming something too serious, consider putting it in the background. But ideally when it's not moving. So, you know, it's not distracting, but it's just so cute.